mates, and welcome back to Cinematic Sarcastic, the podcast that talks all things movies and television. I'm Natalie, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we are just going to do one last episode to wrap up 2022, and this is really just going to be my favorite movie from 2022, my favorite TV show from 2022, and then also my worst movie and worst TV show from 2022. I had planned to do kind of like separate ones of these, but I decided that I actually wanted to take a break during some of my time off and figured if I just did kind of a quicker episode, just highlighting which things I think you guys should definitely see if you haven't yet, and which things you should avoid if you've had the luck of avoiding these so far, that would be kind of a better way to do it. So we are going to jump right in and just talk about my favorite movie of 2022. And just as like a little disclaimer, obviously all of these are really just going to be things that I have covered this year on the podcast itself. And I've only been going for, I think, about 8 months now. So it's not going to be a full year of 2022. I'm sure there are some things towards the beginning of the year that I completely missed, and those are not going to be included in here at all. So my favorite movie from 2022, I feel like, is just an absolute easy one to say. It has to be Avatar: The Way of Water. This one, I mean, obviously it's blown past like $1 billion in the box office, and there is a really good reason for that. I think just visually, Avatar: The Way of Water has been the most stunning movie this year, and I don't know that there's anything else that I can compare to it. I mean, in terms of like maybe runner up, I would say Bullet Train, and probably for a lot of the same reasons. I mean, Bullet Train obviously is like a lot more fast paced than Avatar, but at the end of the day, Avatar is just going to win for me, hands down. It's been a long time coming, and I was very impressed by what Cameron was able to do here. Now, my favorite TV show of 2022 has to, again, be probably just like the people's choice. It has to be House of the Dragon. This is the only season or the only television show that I actually covered every single episode for. And I think really it's just the only thing that stood out to me as being good enough to actually take the time to do that. I loved Game of Thrones, and there was a lot riding on House of the Dragon as far as, you know, most everyone not really liking how the showrunners ended Game of Thrones. And I am one of those. I am looking forward to Jon Snow, just because I feel like there are so many rumors that are coming out now about what Jon Snow is going to entail. And there have been some like inklings that Daenerys Targaryen might actually make an appearance in Jon Snow. And if that happens, I mean, House of the Dragon will definitely lose its #1 spot, because you give me back Dany and I am going to be the happiest girl in the world, really. She is my favorite. I think that Rhaenyra obviously was a really great runner-up to Daenerys, but there is no one that can stand against Daenerys for me. She is the queen. I will bend the knee to her all day long. I absolutely love her. So if she does come back and make an appearance in Jon Snow, then I will probably forget all about House of the Dragon, if I'm honest. I don't know that it will hold up the same way. I'll still watch, but I don't know. I mean, what I'm hoping is that Kit comes back around and kind of maybe fixes some of the things that fans didn't like so much from the show. That's, fingers crossed, what I'm hoping for. So to move it right along, I would have to say that my worst movie and my worst TV show of 2022 have a similar theme to them. My worst movie this year, even though this one doesn't seem like it would be like even on that list, because there have been quite a few just not great things. Disney's Pinocchio comes to mind, but I would have to say Hocus Pocus 2 for me has to be the worst. film. And then Willow has to be the worst television series. And here's why. For me personally, at least, I think that I had a lot of expectation for both of them because Hocus Pocus was one of my favorite Halloween films, and Willow is just a movie that I have absolutely loved. Mad Mardigan is one of my favorite characters, and to see them both kind of not given the respect that they deserve or coming out in a way that I'm like, well, this is just a cash grab or something that doesn't have any connection really to the feeling behind what the original thing had in the first place, especially with Willow. I think Hocus Pocus 2, even though I would say it's probably my worst film of the year, I could stomach watching that one again, but I cannot stomach sitting through Willow. And I really think it's just because there is absolutely nothing in the Willow TV series to me that feels even remotely similar to the original. It's just completely different. It's kind of a joke. The story writing is awful. And I'm surprised actually that it's been allowed to kind of continue. I'm shocked that someone didn't see it in the same way that the production company, for instance, for Blood Origin did, and recognize how terrible it was and then cut it down and make it shorter just to be oof, we'll put out as little as possible and then kind of pretend we never did it. The fact that they're standing so hard behind Willow and saying that it's so great is kind of the most horrifying for me. That one was just so disappointing. I know that we can't really go back and recapture the same magic again. It's a lot harder to do that. I think Top Gun Maverick was an outlier, right? It's really, really hard to do a sequel or do something, this many years after the original project came out and still have the same heart behind it as the original thing did. But you can still approach it with the intention of doing that or with the goodwill towards the fans. And I don't see that in either Hocus Pocus 2 or in Willow, but especially in the Willow TV series. So those are going to be my best and worst of 2022. I would love to know what your guys' best and worst films and TV shows are from this year. I would love to also, just as a last little bit of this year, really, really genuinely from my heart say thank you so much to all of the movie nerds out there that have supported the podcast this year, that have subscribed, that have taken the time to listen. I know everyone's time is incredibly valuable. So if you just take the 10 minutes to listen to my episodes, I truly, truly appreciate you. And I really hope to see the podcast grow next year. You guys have really made this one of the most amazing things of 2022 for me. So with that, I would love to say Happy New Year, and I hope to see you all in next year's episodes.
Next.